Welcome to The Explainer. You know, delivering a pizza seems like a pretty straightforward gig, right? But what happens when that simple, everyday job turns into an actual fight for your life? Today, we're diving into three true stories from drivers who faced absolute horror on the job.
So, how dangerous can it really be? Well, let's just get right into our first story. For one 16-year-old driver, the very first sign of trouble wasn't some creepy customer or a dark alley. It was the look on the face of the guy he was replacing.
Okay, picture this. The main delivery driver for the shop suddenly bursts back in, looking absolutely ghost white, eyes wide with terror. He marches right into the manager's office, and after a loud 15-minute argument, he quits right there on the spot. His only excuse? Just a shitty job. But the look on his face told a way, way darker story. So a few weeks pass. Our new 16-year-old driver gets an order, punches the address into his GPS, and his stomach just drops. He realizes it's the exact same house, the one that made the last guy quit.
I mean, this place was straight out of a horror movie. It's out in the middle of nowhere, the lawn is dead, trees look like skeletons, the porch is all empty and decaying. A huge wave of dread just washes over him. But he kind of pushes it down, gets out of the car, and knocks, just hoping, praying it's the wrong address. The door creaks open, and there's this short, elderly woman with missing teeth and these really intense, glaring eyes. She completely ignores the pizza he's holding and asks this one chilling question, confirming this was definitely the house that terrified the last guy. And then, boom, everything starts happening all at once. For a solid minute, she's just fumbling in her purse, but her hand is gripping something he can't see. Then, a man's silhouette just appears in the dark doorway behind her, and before he can even process that, a deep voice calls out from his left, and he sees a second man about to climb onto the porch. Oh yeah, he was being surrounded. That was it. He knew he was being ambushed. He trusted his gut, didn't wait around to find out what they wanted. He just sprinted back to his car, literally threw the pizza inside and peeled out into the darkness, not even daring to look back. And you know what? His instincts were 100% right. When he got back and told his boss what went down, the boss called the cops. Turns out, the house was foreclosed and had been for over a year. And inside, police arrested two men and the old woman, the same three people who tried to trap him. So that driver's quick thinking absolutely saved him. But our next story, well, it's a chilling reminder of what can happen when a driver makes one small, seemingly harmless mistake. It all comes down to breaking the cardinal rule of delivery. You never, ever go inside. This driver ends up in this desolate, run-down town he'd never even heard of. An older guy, pale face, gray mustache, answers the door and invites him inside to get out of the biting cold. And against his better judgment, he did. He stepped inside. So once he's in, the man says he keeps his money downstairs. He opens a door to a completely pitch-black basement and asks the driver to come down with him. The driver, thankfully, said no, but that sense of immediate, overwhelming danger was just screaming at him now. And as he's standing there, just frozen with fear, he hears it. The unmistakable creak of a floorboard from down in that pitch-black basement. And that's when he realized the man wasn't going to get the money. Somebody was already down there waiting for him. He didn't hesitate for a second. He turned to run, but the man lunged for him. He just reacted, threw a punch, sent the guy sprawling to the floor, just as he heard heavy footsteps pounding up the basement stairs. He bolted out that door and did not look back, getting out of there just in the nick of time. Okay, our final story is maybe the most terrifying of all. This one takes place deep in the woods, a 20-minute drive down these dark dirt roads, where being isolated becomes the ultimate weapon against you. So he finally arrives at this dilapidated building in a clearing surrounded by total darkness. No lights, no cars, absolutely nothing. He calls his boss, totally convinced it's a prank or the wrong address, but his boss is in a mood and just tells him to knock anyway. So he knocks, he hears some rustling, and then a face appears in the window. He couldn't even tell if it was a man or a woman, but he said he'd never forget their eyes. They were unnaturally wide, just locked onto him with this terrifying, intense stare. He dropped the pizzas and just ran. He jumps in his car, slams it in gear, and speeds off. But he only gets a few feet before the car just grinds to a halt with this awful scraping sound. He gets out to check, and his blood runs cold.
While he was at the door for that 1 minute, someone had slashed all 4 of his tires. He was completely stranded. Panicking, he gets back in the car, locks the doors, and calls 911. The operator tells him to stay put, so as he's waiting for police who are miles and miles away, he's just nervously scanning the dark forest around him, checking his windows, his side mirrors, and then the rearview mirror. And there, in his back seat, staring right back at him in the mirror, was the same person from the window. He could see now that it was a woman, and this slow, horrifying smile was just spreading across her face. He didn't even scream. He just threw the door open and ran for his life, sprinting blindly into the pitch-black woods. He hid behind a log, trying to keep his breathing quiet, and just waited for what felt like an absolute eternity until, finally, he heard the faint sound of police sirens. So 3 terrifying stories, 3 incredibly narrow escapes. What's the common thread here? What's the thing that connects all of them? It wasn't just luck, and it wasn't about being strong. In every single one of these cases, the driver survived because they made a split-second decision to trust their gut. They didn't try to rationalize it, they didn't worry about being rude or second-guess that feeling that something was deeply, deeply wrong. They felt danger, and they acted on it. Instantly. And in these moments, that little internal alarm bell is the only thing that separates a scary story from an actual tragedy. It really leaves you with a chilling question, doesn't it? When you're faced with a situation that just feels off, when every single fiber of your being is screaming at you to get out and run, would you have the courage to listen? Because as these stories prove, sometimes that gut feeling is the only thing that stands between you and the unthinkable.